Fishing shallow during the summer months can be absolutely deadly. We're here today at the beautiful Bridge View Fisheries in Staffordshire, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know about fishing short, close to yourself, and catching loads and loads of fish in the summer months. So what is short, shallow fishing on commercials? It's come to the fore these days that there's a lot of silverfish, there's a lot of smaller F1s, that's a nice hide, and they're all keen on fishing with maggots. Maggots, casters, baits that are slow sinking through the water. You can have a brilliant day's fishing. But why do I choose to fish short? Only reason, really simple, number of fish. I don't want to be going 11.5, 13 metres. I want to come nice and close to myself where I can get into a rhythm and catch a lot of fish and get myself into that rhythm of feed, fish, net, feed, fish, swing, feed, fish, net, and that is the rhythm that you have to be in. So, short, shallow, 6 metres, keep that rhythm going and you'll catch a load of fish. How do I know when to start fishing shallow on these commercials? Well, the fish will tell you everything you need to know. It's bright, it's sunny, you know, there's temperatures today expected to be 30 odd degrees. So the fish are genuinely going to be in the warmer layers, which are the upper layers of the water anyway. So I would normally start my day fishing short with either banded pellets, trying to catch an early bigger fish, and I'd be priming that shallow line at 5-6 metres. When I then see a few fish showing, i.e. swirls, you know, blows coming off the bottom, because it's only shallow, it's only about maximum 4 foot in the track. Blowing is a brilliant sign, and also swirling fish is a brilliant sign. So if you can get them fish confident, they're willing to feed, they're swirling, they're competing for the bait that you're putting in, that is then the time to go shallow. You don't want to go shallow when they're not in your swim, because you're actually making your peg worse. You want to get them confident in your peg, feeding, rather than going in your peg and starting on it straight away, because you won't get a number of fish in your peg. You need to get them confident and then go on it. So my number one tip for this time of year is, it has to be confidence. You have to get them fish confident in feeding, keep feed going in, get them confident, and then you can catch them. So another indication of fish being shallow is, if I was to have a deck line where I'm fishing now, and my float, I'm getting indications on my float, I'm getting missed bites, that's a really good sign that the fish are shallow, because you're getting indications that your float's moving up and down, you're missing bites, the fish are naturally coming shallow. So that's another really good sign of to come shallow. Another sign is when you're fishing on the deck and you're putting your rig through and it's getting intercepted halfway down. That's another telltale sign that the fish are coming up. So you can use your rigs on the bottom to dictate where you're going to be fishing in the layers as well. While we're out now, quickly, I'm just going to run you quickly the process of fishing shallow. Now, hook bait for me, all you can see on my side tray is I've got one bait, very simple. I've just got 4 pints of maggots with me, red maggots. Really simple, been to the tackle shop this morning, got myself 4 pints, riddled all the maize off, boom, that's it. I do not want to overcomplicate anything, because when you're onto a number of fish game, this lake, you need to catch in excess of 300 to 400 fish. I fished the festival at the start of June on this lake. I've had 407 eyed for £104. So it's fast and frantic fishing, which means short, shallow is really important. So when you're doing this game, you have to get everything simple, but all your setup has to be absolutely spot on. My landing net pole is nice and close, so I can grab it and net them really quickly. And there's a nice high roller behind me to get the roller up, get the landing net pole up. That's important, so I can just literally scoop it straight out, straight in, and the fish is netted, and it's straight back. It's really fast and really efficient. Another thing is, like I said, the side tray, don't overcomplicate anything. Just have one bait and that's it. You know, don't have pellets, this and that. You might have a few pellets for fishing short, or some ground bait for down the edge later, but just keep that to one side and just concentrate on your maggots. Now, the process of fishing shallow. So it's really simple. I've got a short kit, 6 to 8 X-Core elastic, nice and soft, 016 mainline, a small 2x11 dibber float in line, really small, just takes 2 number 11 shot, really nice and sensitive, 2 number 11s on a 4-inch hook link and a size 16 hook. Really, really simple. Best bait for me is always going to be a side hooked maggot. I love side hooking maggots. It acts as like a little parachute, and it's absolutely perfect for this style of fishing. So let me run you through now the process of it. That's the rig, that's my setup, nothing complicated. Let me now talk to you about how I do it. So my bait's on, my little parachuted maggot. I've got a nice high roller behind me. I'm just going to pick up 10 to 20 maggots, throw the maggots in, and then I'm going to throw them again. That now means that the fish are competing in my peg and they're looking for bait straight away. All I'm going to do is keep the pole nice and low, get to my marker, swing it in, and literally hold on, and then there you go, straight away. Feed your maggots, swing that fish in, put it in your keep net, repeat the process. If I did have a keep net, I'm not allowed one today, so I haven't put one in. So again, side hook the maggot, feed your maggots. I'm just going to feed once this time, because I think there's quite a lot of fish in my peg now. I don't need to feed twice. So straight away, feed your maggots. Nice tight line. Ooh. So again, nice tight line between your float and your pole tip. There you go, straight away. And feed your maggots. What's important though, when you do hook a fish, is you feed more maggots than what you are before you go on the line. Now that's important. So when I'm feeding here, I'm only feeding 10 to 20 maggots. So I feed them. When I've hooked a fish and it's come out the peg, I'll feed 20 to 30 maggots. Now the reason for that is, with eyed, they're a shoal fish, and sometimes you can lose them really, really quickly. And we're catching a massive number of eyed today, and the last thing you want to do is lose them to the angler next door, or they move very, very quickly. They're ravenous, they're actually predators, they're predatory fish. So the last thing you want to do is not feed them enough. You need to keep them in your peg. So when you catch one, 20 to 30 maggots, boom. Now, when I'm about to feed, I only want to feed half of that, because I want to get them competing on my hook bait rather than, 20, 30 maggots. Less maggots in, they're competing on my hook bait. When I hook one, I want to get the maggots in to get them back into the peg, because they can spook very, very easily. So 10 to 20 maggots, again, feed, ship out, flick your rig in, nice tight line to your float. Flick your rig in, nice tight line, boom, there you go. And it is that simple. And you can see now what I mean by getting into that rhythm. So my hook bait's still on, 10 to 20 maggots, feed, get to my spot, flick your rig in, and then bang. Fishing like this and catching a massive number of fish, you can quite quickly reach your net limits on these fisheries. Most fisheries now have a maximum net limit of £50, so it doesn't take a long time to get that sort of weight. And that's where, let me just put this maggot on, that's where one of these comes in really, really handy. Yes, it's Maver green, but I love Maver, so I've got a Maver green one. They come in red, blue, whatever colour you want, but essentially it's a clicker. And all I do, when I get a fish, I click. Fishing for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and I've got 39 fish already. So these are absolutely brilliant for knowing exactly what's in your net. So I will only go to 150 fish in a net. I know roughly that's going to be between 40 and 45 pound with the stamp of fish that's in this lake. So get yourself a clicker. If you're fishing for eyed, £1 to £1.50, you want 30 fish in your net. It's that simple. These things are a must when there's net limits in place and you don't want to fall foul of net limits. So I'm just going to talk to you quickly about feeding when you're doing this sort of fishing. And it's really, really important to keep them maggots going in. You know, when I'm fishing this way, I see a lot of people, they're just not simply feeding enough. You know, it's fast, it's frantic, and there's a lot of fish in this lake, and you need to keep the fish in front of you. So 10 to 20 maggots in, do it a second time, you know, get that bait in, get them feeding, get that bait in. When there's a number of fish there, you can feed almost every single time if you really want to. Just keep them competing in your peg and keep them active all the time. You do not want to lose these fish to the person next to you. And just keep them fish coming. See, they're decent stamp now. So with the stamp has gone better all of a sudden, which means that we're feeding and fishing the most effective way. Because if you're catching a bigger stamp of fish, it normally means that you're in the right depth, you're feeding the right amount of bait, but more importantly, you've got the right rig on to catch them. And there you go, straight away now with bigger fish. I'm just going to take my top kit off for that one because that one's a bit, there we go. So straight away, we're now into a bigger stamp of fish, which means we can feed even more bait. So get it in once, twice. When you start catching bigger stamps of fish in these lakes, these eyed and things, you must keep the bait going in. That one just robbed the maggot. Because as soon as you stop your feeding pattern for these bigger fish, they go and you lose them. You don't want to lose bigger stamp fish when you've got them in your peg. You can see how absolutely solid it is now. So swing it in. They're actually shallower than what I'm fishing at the moment. You know, I might just take, oh, that was a quick bite. I might just take 4 or 5 inches off that. So just swing that in. So just being efficient and effective is the best way of fishing this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple of inches off. I'm going to move my back shot down just so I can keep everything nice and tight. Just got to stick in my peg, that don't matter. So get that in. A smaller fish. So see, just that little tiny break of feed in there, and I've got a smaller fish straight away. So now what I need to do is I need to start upping my feed rate again because they've backed off. So I want to get them back towards me. So get that bait in, get them in your peg again, competing, get them back up. And there you go, better stamp fish straight away. That one's just come off, unfortunately. But so straight away now, my stamp has got bigger again. So there you go, they're better stamp fish straight away. And all the time, I'm constantly doing something. I'm either feeding, I'm either flicking my rig in. It's very, very busy, very frantic, but if you're the busiest angler on the lake and you're doing everything right and just keeping everything to a certain way and getting yourself into that rhythm, you'll be very, very hard to beat at this game. If you follow the tips that I've given you in this little video, you're gonna have a brilliant day's fishing, but more importantly, you're gonna catch a shed load of fish. Been at Bridge View Fishery, stunning little venue. Put the tips and tricks that I've given you and hopefully you go out and catch a load of fish. Tight lines, everyone.